Accessing file. Subject Captain John Sheridan. Captain John Sheridan took over command of Babylon 5 in 2259 after the sudden recall of Commander Jeffrey Sinclair. Former commander of the Earth Alliance ship Agamemnon, Sheridan was a decorated veteran of the Earth-Minbari War. During the conflict, Sheridan earned Earth its only victory by destroying the Minbari flagship and earning him the nickname Star Killer. His appointment to Babylon 5 marks his most difficult and important assignment to date. End file. Accessing file. Subject Lieutenant Warren Keffer. Lieutenant Warren Keffer is a highly trained combat pilot and leader of Babylon 5's Zeta Wing. After witnessing a shadow vessel in hyperspace during a mission, Keffer became obsessed with proving their existence. Lieutenant Keffer did manage to gather his evidence, but paid the ultimate price in the process. End file. Accessing file. Subject Veer Koto. Veer Koto was appointed attaché to Centauri ambassador Londo Mollari in part due to the influence of his family. Although timid and subservient at first, Veer has proven himself time and time again to be a valuable asset to Londo. Veer has a great distrust of Shadow Envoy Mr. Morden and feels that Londo's current course of actions is destructive. End file. Accessing file. Subject Lanier. Part of the Minbari religious caste, Lanier was raised in a monastery before being selected as the assistant to Ambassador Delenn. Lanier is completely loyal to Delenn, standing guard during her chrysalis transformation and subsequent dismissal from the Grey Council. A member of the Third Fane of Chudomo, Lanier has a strong desire to do what is right for his people. End file. Accessing file. Subject Natoth. Natoth serves as aide to non-representative Jakar. Strong-willed like the ambassador, Natoth is loyal to her race and a valued ally to Jakar in his struggle to keep their people free from Centauri control. Natoth was on the Narn homeworld during the Centauri bombardment, and her whereabouts are currently unknown. End file. Accessing file. Subject Lord Rifa. Lord Rifa is a representative of the Centauri government and an associate of Ambassador Londo Mollari. Following the death of Centauri Emperor Turhan, Rifa plotted the assassination of the Centauri Prime Minister, as well as the bombardment of the Narn homeworld using outlawed mass drivers. Rifa's ruthlessness is matched only by his thirst for power. End file. Accessing file. Subject General Richard Franklin. Career Officer General Richard Franklin serves as commander of Earth Force Marines 365th Infantry Division. General Franklin is the father of Babylon 5's Chief Medical Officer Dr. Stephen Franklin, but he disagrees with his son's belief that all life is sacred regardless of which side they fight for. General Franklin recently used Babylon 5 as a staging ground to launch Operation Sudden Death, which was designed to overtake the rebel stronghold at Matok. End file. Accessing file. Subject Dr. Everett Jacobs. Dr. Everett Jacobs served as Vice President Clark's personal physician at the time of President Santiago's death. Following Clark's inauguration, Dr. Jacobs fled to Babylon 5 with evidence suggesting that the former president's death was no accident. Pursued by Earth Force agents and briefly captured by a bounty hunter, Dr. Jacobs was rescued by Captain Sheridan and then hidden aboard Ambassador Kosh's ship to avoid detection. End file. Accessing file. Subject Sebastian. Sebastian is an inquisitor used by the Vorlons to test the resolve and spirit of Ambassador Delenn. Alternating between interrogation and torture, Sebastian attempted to persuade Delenn to admit she was not prepared to lead the forces of light in the war to come. In the end, Delenn passed Sebastian's test. Before leaving Babylon 5, Sebastian confided that he was taken from London in the late 1800s by the Vorlons and is known in Earth's history as Jack the Ripper. End file. Accessing file. Subject Draal. A former teacher and friend of Delenn, Drall took over as the protector of Epsilon 3 just before the previous Guardian died. Drall merged with the massive computer complex located miles beneath the surface until the time was right for him to reveal the planet's secrets. His reappearance gives Babylon 5 and the universe another weapon in the coming war against the Shadows. End file. Accessing file. Subject: Dropha. Dropha is a supposedly extinct disease that recently re-emerged to infect the Markhab race. The Markhab consider the disease to be a punishment from the gods for a lack of morality. While most species are immune to Dropha, the plague is highly contagious to the Markhab and 100% lethal within 24 hours of infection. Dr. Franklin created a vaccine, but he was too late as the disease effectively wiped out the entire Markhab race. End file. Accessing file. Subject: Ground Pounders. Ground Pounders is the slang name given to the Earth Force's mobile infantry. The front line in any military assault, the Ground Pounders, or Gropos for short, are a tough-as-nails group who are prepared to fight on a moment's notice. The Ground Pounders live life on the edge because they know that each mission they go on could very well be their last. End file. Accessing file. Subject: Interstellar Network News. Broadcasting from their headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland, the Interstellar Network News is one of the main sources of information for Earth, its colonies, and Babylon 5. ISN anchorwoman Cynthia Torkman and the show 36 Hours recently filmed an expose on Babylon 5, in the process filming an attack between Narn and Centauri forces. End file. Accessing file. Subject: Morago. The Morago is a duel fought by members of Centauri's Coral Predo in order to uphold their family's honor. Once a challenge for the Morago is accepted, the combatants square off in a battle to the death using fighting swords known as kutare. Tradition states that the winner of the Morago must care for the loser's family, making them part of his own. End file. Accessing file. Subject: Narn Centauri War. In response to the Centauri's increased aggression, the Narn declared war on them in 2259. The conflict, however, did not go well for the Narn as their forces were repeatedly defeated by the technologically superior Centauri. A desperate attack by the Narn on the Centauri supply world of Gorash 7 met with utter defeat at the hands of Londo's allies, the Shadows. Following a devastating planetary bombardment of their homeworld, the Narn government had no alternative but to give their unconditional surrender. End file. Accessing file. Subject: Night Watch. The Night Watch is a special organization created by the Ministry of Peace in order to further goodwill and peace among humans. Recruits of the Night Watch receive 50 credits per week and wear an identifying armband. Night Watch members are asked to keep an eye open for individuals who appear dissatisfied with the Earth Alliance government and report their activities to the proper authorities. End file. Accessing file. Subject: Project Lazarus. Project Lazarus involved implanting computer chips into humans to control their actions. The experiments proved unsuccessful, however, and the project was officially abandoned. Project Lazarus secretly continued as a black op, where near-death humans, conditioned by deep psych or brain scans, were able to handle the cyborg implants. Former Free Mars radical Abel Horn was programmed by Project Lazarus and sent to Babylon 5, where he assassinated a prominent businessman before he was killed by station security. End file. Accessing file. Subject: Stribe. The Stribe are aliens who travel through space, abducting specimens of various races. The captives are then subjected to painful experiments and torture. In addition, the Stribe have their victims fight one another in an effort to determine who is the strongest. Bearing strong resemblance to the Grey aliens who were reported to have abducted humans in Earth's past, the Stribe are an emotionless race, willing to kill their captives rather than set them free. End file. Accessing file. Subject: Technomage. Technomages are powerful beings who use advanced science and technology to create the illusion of magic. The presence of more than one technomage is typically a bad omen. A large number of technomages recently gathered on Babylon 5. Their leader, Elric, informed Captain Sheridan of a coming darkness in the universe and the technomage's intention to travel beyond the Rim, never to return. End file. Accessing file. Subject: Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad is a secret organization whose objective is to smuggle unregistered telepaths away from the Psi Corps. The Underground's leader, Dr. Franklin, used Babylon 5 as a halfway house until the telepaths could be moved to a safe haven. Psycop Andrew Bester investigated Babylon 5 in an attempt to expose the railroad, but his telepathic skills proved no match for the combined mental strength of the railroad's members. End file. Accessing file. Subject: Copernicus. The Copernicus is an ancient Earth exploration vessel found drifting near Babylon 5. Before the acquisition of jumpgate technology, sleeper ships such as the Copernicus would travel deep space with its occupants frozen in suspended animation. The vessels were programmed to wake the crew upon contact with any sentient race. Mariah Cirrus, one of the ship's 2 occupants, was successfully revived by Dr. Franklin. End file. Accessing file. Subject: Babylon 5 Defense Grid. In addition to its Star Fury squadrons, Babylon 5 has powerful systems to protect it from any attack. The recently upgraded defense grid includes improved laser cannons, pulse discharge weapons, and interceptors. The defense grid showed its firepower during a recent battle with an aggressive Centauri warship. End file. Accessing file. Subject: Icarus. The Icarus was an exploration vessel on a 6-month scientific mission to the Outer Rim when it mysteriously exploded, killing all 140 hands on board, including Captain Sheridan's wife, Anna. New information revealed that the Icarus landed on the shadow homeworld of Zahadum. The shadows destroyed the ship and killed everyone, except for Mr. Morden, who agreed to serve as their envoy. End file. Accessing file. Subject: Cortez. The Cortez is an Earth Alliance deep space exploration vessel under the command of Captain Jack Maynard. Ships like the Cortez can spend years in space, traveling to the farthest reaches of the galaxy, mapping territories and constructing jump gates. An explosion on board the Cortez crippled the vessel, trapping it in hyperspace. Only a risky maneuver by Zeta Wing prevented the ship and its crew from being lost forever. End file. Accessing file. Subject: Trigati. The Trigati was a Minbari battlecruiser that fought during the bloody Earth-Minbari War. Following the Minbari's unexplained surrender at the Battle of the Line, the ship and its crew disappeared into self-imposed exile. The Trigati recently appeared at Babylon 5 in an attempt to reignite hostilities between Earth and Minbar. Its renegade mission failed, however, and the Trigati was destroyed by another Minbari warship. End file.